Yo, what's going on? This is your man's D2G, Eastside Chi-Town, Reflective Music's very own Petty Gang Chicago rep. And you're now tuned in to the sounds to support the Dope Radio with my girl CB. That girl Calid Brown know how to get down, you heard? Tune in.
Following public service announcement is being brought to you by the good folks that support the Dope. It's told by D2G. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now in tune with something like a phenomenon. It's food for thought for those starving through Ramadan. Nothing less than the best, that's what you rockin' with. So take notes on this newness, cause you'll be jocking in. Precious of the bunch, plenty game that we put you on. Fashion and music, we give it till the good's gone. Keeping up with the time, so you'll be in the know. Nothing but exclusives, heads up on who's next to blow. It's only dopeness we give to the masses. The promise guaranteed, ain't no pushing the whackness. So say your theatrics for plays if you've been a hater. Plus the lovely Carly Brown's your facilitator. Lead the water when we bring that fire. Here's the industry biz #1 supplier. Boy, them other stations don't want no smoke. Keep your ears tuned in and support the dope. Yeah, looking at my clock and it's about that time. 7:30 Central when we hit online. And we coming to you live from the Ghost. So tell your people settle in and support the dope. Yeah, looking at my clock and it's about that time. 7:30 Central when we hit online. And we coming to you live from the Ghost. So tell your people settle in and support the dope for sure.
You are now tuned in to Support the Dope. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. Support the Dope Radio was designed to give a platform to the best, most talented, and dopest artists in the city of Chicago and equip them with the power to tell their own story in their own words. This is Season 3, Episode 6. I'm your host, your homegirl CB, aka CB Radio. If you're tuning in live via the Spreaker app or Spreaker.com, feel free to jump in and leave your comments or questions for tonight's guest using the chat feature. Feel free to say hello to me as well. So for tonight's guest, I'm just going to read a quick little bio for you, and then we're going to get started. I know he has another appointment to make, but it'll be a good time, I promise. Calid B is a Chicago-based producer and MC that is pioneering his own sound in which he describes as AfroBang. After making his mark in the industry as a manager and ad man for some of the world's top ad agencies, this time around, Calid is ready to share his music talents in more of a lead role. AfroBang is inspired by his upbringing, which is firmly rooted in what it means to be a black man in America today, but also reaches back to his father's origins. The energy behind AfroBang fuses together contemporary hip-hop production elements like trap drums, synths, and 808s with the tribal percussions and chants from West Africa. However, AfroBang is more than music. It is a necessary culture and a community that he has been able to cultivate in a short amount of time. The AfroBang merchandise includes the Make Africa Great Again apparel that donates a portion of the proceeds to organizations in Africa that are uplifting the diaspora. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Calid B.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me, Carla. It's a pleasure to be on Support the Dope.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. You know, just came off a long weekend, so got to relax a little bit. It was actually unexpectedly relaxed because I was supposed to have an event on Saturday, for AfroBang, and then we unfortunately had to postpone it. Well, not unfortunately, things happened, right? And the AfroBang Carnival was supposed to go down, but we had some last minute cancellations that were out of our control, so we ended up having to postpone it. But it'll be bigger and better coming very soon, so definitely stay tuned for that.
Awesome. So I actually have. I was introduced to you probably like maybe about a year ago, maybe just a little bit longer than that, by a mutual friend of ours. What's up, Dr. Shantae? That's when I first came to know about you and your music. When was AfroBang released?
Can you say that one more time? Sorry, you was breaking up a little.
That's okay. When was AfroBang released? The EP.
Oh yeah. So the actual EP was released on July 15th of 2016. So it's been a little bit over a year, which is crazy because it feels like it just came out like yesterday. But yeah, I remember that session that Dr. Shante had for her Believe Bigger podcast, which is, you know, very inspirational for those who are listening. Definitely, you know, check that out too. But yeah, we met there, and that was when I was really just, you know, starting to conceive AfroBang as a real thing. I hadn't even put out, you know, any songs yet.
I told you it was coming. Yeah. We were gonna do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Took us a little while to get full circle, but we're here.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to AfroBang. Well, even I know a lot of musical artists don't really like to talk about what their day job is, right? Or if they had a day job, you know, and they've since left. They don't even really like to talk about it too much, but I know that you don't necessarily shy away from talking about having been in the ad industry. Tell us a little bit about that and what you did there.
Yeah, so I got into the ad industry, you know, by way of music. And in grad school, you know, I wrote my dissertation, not dissertation, but my master's thesis on like the new wave of brand partnerships. So, you know, how a lot of artists, instead of, you know, signing major label deals, you know, brands started stepping in and providing funding for artists. And, you know, artists were able to generate revenue in kind of non-traditional ways outside of, you know, the traditional record label deal. So I actually wrote about that like back in, you know, 2010. And this was like before Chance and like before kind of the whole like independent wave. I was kind of like in tune with that trend, you know, early on. I really think like Mac Miller was like one of the first like hip hop artists to kind of bring it to the mainstream, but then it's become bigger and bigger ever since. And a lot of, you know, co-branded partnership deals have come about. So that was kind of my way into the ad industry, because I shared that thesis with the agency called Translation, which is run by Steve Stout and Jay-Z.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like definitely one of my idols when it comes to music and business in general. And so I had you know, researched his agency and interviewed a couple people that worked there for my thesis. I always want to say dissertation. I feel like
because you're speaking it into existence. It's coming.
Exactly. One day I'll get there. But
Dr.
yeah,
AfroBang.
so for my thesis, right? One day. But for my master's thesis, I interviewed a couple people at Translation. And long story short, you know, shout out to Tiffany Harden. That's one of my good friends there. And she kind of opened the door for me and got me a couple of interviews with the agency, and they really liked my thinking and my, you know, just energy, and ended up bringing me in, even though I didn't have much advertising experiences at the time. You know, they just liked my thinking, so they brought me in, and that's kind of how I got my foot in the door in the advertising industry, and have been in it pretty much ever since. Bounced around to a few different agencies since then, and it's been fun. It all ties together to music. You know, half of music is marketing anyway, right. So so it's definitely helped me kind of shape my ideas and, you know, think bigger and think about ways to make the music, you know, extend itself beyond just a song, but like how can this be, you know, a marketing idea, or how can this be a hashtag? And even the name, you know, AfroBang was, you know, I probably wouldn't have thought of that if I hadn't had that experience in advertising. So it kind of just brings it together.
Right. That's dope.
Yeah.
So what were you doing prior to AfroBang musically, if anything?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing music for a long time, and like I know I'm a new artist as a solo artist, but I've been producing, you know, since like undergrad and college. I went to Ohio State, for my undergrad, and, you know, I was just one of the kids like, that'd be in his dorm room making beats, for fun. And that was like my dorm room was like one of the, spots to be for all the rappers and, aspiring artists to come through and just kind of clown around. We would just have like late night cypher sessions and, everybody just kind of, come through and kick it. So I just did it for fun in college. And then, after college, I tried to take it more seriously, on the job hunt. While I was on the job hunt, I was like, man, I might as well try this, this music thing seriously. So I was actually in a alternative kind of rock hip-hop group, which a lot of people don't know. That's like a Support the Dope exclusive right there.
We got all the goodies over here.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. It was kind of in the world of like gym class heroes. So I was like the rapper, and then it was like kind of a band behind me. So that was cool. And then that didn't end up working out. We broke up, and then that kind of spurred me to move to Chicago and pursue my graduate degree, focusing on music business and arts management, and tried to get in the music industry more so as an executive and a manager. So I worked with a couple artists in Chicago and in Ohio, and had some decent success doing that, but it wasn't really paying the bills or anything. So that's when I decided to make my way into advertising. And on the side, I did have my own production company, so I was like making beats and selling beats online here and there. But that hustle is hard too. So it's just like trying to get in where you fit in. And then I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna stop trying to sell beats to everybody else and just kind of rap and sing over my own beats and see what happens. And that's kind of where the AfroBang, came about. So that's kind of the journey of how we got here.
Yeah. So who are some of your musical influences that you grew up listening to? Do they have any effect in, the type of music that you've put out with AfroBang, or is it something completely different?
Yeah, a lot of my influences definitely have, influenced the sound that I created today with AfroBang. I really get a lot of influences from like strong, women. So, I was raised by a single mom, and she's an artist as well, not a musical artist, but a visual artist and paints and everything. So a lot of my artistic kind of genes come from her. And so I'm definitely inspired by like Nina Simone, and even like more recently like MIA and Santa Gold, Erykah Badu. I definitely look to them as just like really strong female artists. Then outside of that, Fela Kuti is definitely a big inspiration. Mos Def, Kanye, a lot of the Chicago cats, Kanye, Common, who else? Andre 3000, definitely a huge inspiration. The whole Outkast, Dungeon Family crew, really. So yeah, those are like really like my main inspiration. Kid Cudi too. I definitely got to shout him out as the Ohio, influence. He was definitely a big influence when I was kind of finding my own style. So yeah, it ranges. I'm a producer too, so I listen to literally like everything. Like I pretty much have headphones on all day. Like people probably think I'm trying to be antisocial, but it's really just like I'm just addicted to music, to be honest.
Ignoring everybody.
I know. I just have my beats on like all day. Like, man, this dude don't want to talk to nobody. I was like, nah, we can talk. It's just I gotta have my music. So yeah, I listen to like everything from world music to classical to trap, R&B. It really varies. Like if I had a playlist of my daily listens, it would be real sporadic.